But as Governor Gwen had said, we're surrounded by empowered women, and I also want to thank Congresswoman Cutie, who I've also known since we were, much younger than we still are. Let's put it that way. And not to set aside Mayor Duke, but I want to special mention the beautiful and radiant wife, Attorney Christine Os. You look lovely, as I've already told you. So to all the empowered women here and the supportive men who can only, where a woman can only shine and a woman can really only be the best that she can be when there is no man giving her troubles. Because I carefully worded that phrase because she can shine without a man. But if there's going to be a man, he might as well not add to her troubles, right, ladies? So let me also take the opportunity to greet all my friends back there, and of course our good family friend who through their kinship with my father has also made me an adopted daughter of Mandaue, Board Member Wano. So with that, my friend, let me just give you a very short story about why I'm actually standing here tonight. Not particularly as a senator, definitely not a candidate. I'm not up for re-election. I am here to just share my story, and I'm not a great writer, but well, it's in the story how I came about writing this book. But the question is, I've been asked, why did you write your memoirs? You're too young to write your memoirs. Well, one of the first things I learned in a memoir writing class I took in New York with my brother Lino was that you do not have to be successful, you do not have to be titled, you do not have to be accomplished, and you do not have to be in your retirable years to write your memoirs. Autobiography, yes, but memoirs anyone can write. So in the US, they actually have street cleaners who've written memoirs. Anyone can write their memoirs about their life living on the street. The year they took off and spent a year living in Africa. You can write about anything. So with that information, I felt comfortable sharing my life as a senator, mom, and triathlete. When you do look at my book, there's only one chapter on my life as a senator per se. And in a way, it's probably the most boring part of the book. Not because being a senator is boring, because as my dear friends in politics know here, there's no boring day in the life of a politician. But I say that because I want people to realize that all of us politicians are people too. And we have a life. We are mothers, we are daughters, we are sisters. We go through all the emotions that everybody else goes through. And in my case, my book starts with the loss of my father. I need to mention Tito Maxeno, who's right here, standing here, a good friend of my dad. My political life began with the death of my father. And so he is intrinsically part, not just of my life, but of my being a senator today. And there was no other way for me to start this story without starting with who my father was. So although this story is my 6 years in the Senate, it started with the man who was my father and how I came to be here today. And then of course, I could not leave out the part which gets me in the papers more than my work in the Senate. And that's running races. Unfortunately, as I have come to realize, it seems to be more sexy to see a senator running than to be debating. Unfortunately, because I take pride in the work that I do. And that is also the reason why I wrote the book. Although it is not necessarily in the chapter about my work in the Senate, a lot of my work comes out in my advocacies, in the reasons why I travel. I visit different groups, NGOs, local governments, and we talk about projects that are meaningful to me. Meaningful in a way that I can make legislation out of it, or I can just support it without the need of legislation. And many times, that's how our Senate work gets done. The law may never, it's something we work on may never become a law, but because it's talked about often, because issues are clarified, we are able to make things happen despite the absence of a law. So that is that's really what it is. And I just need to probably end on this note. As it says, it's my life as a senator, mom, and triathlete. Which means, my Cebuano friends, you will see more of me. Because the two biggest triathlon events in the country, which is international in standard, are going to be in Cebu in 2012. And this is the Xterra. It is an off-road triathlon. You bike on the trails. When you swim in the ocean, then you bike on the trails, and then you run in the trails. And I did it in March, and the running in the trails included running in the beach, which I swam in na lang because it was easier for me to swim. And that actually gave me the opportunity to represent our country in Maui. So when we stood up there were about, I don't know, maybe 12 of us. And some countries like the US, there were probably 100 of them, but I want you to know that we cheered the loudest because that's how Filipinos are. And as I was telling Governor Gwen, and I'm assuring Mayor Juke now, that I will be the loudest cheerer between now and March to be sure that the whole world knows that Xterra Philippines is going to be in Liloan, Cebu, and it will be an amazing event. And then, we also learned that the Ironman 70.3, which is a 2-kilometer swim, a 90-kilometer bike, and a 21-kilometer run, a half marathon, is also moving to Cebu. So this is the Ironman 70.3 Philippines, and it's going to be in Cebu. Isn't that wonderful? So I heard in like 2 days, there were already 800 participants signing up. And remember, mga kababayan, international event po ito. It puts us on the international map when it comes to international sports activities. So this is a proud moment, not just for Filipinos, but for Cebuanos, because it really identifies our country, your province, as a destination for sports enthusiasts. And mark my word, you will see people from all over the world. So that is such a wonderful thing, and for that, sa ayaw at sa gusto nyo, I will be back again for those 2 events and to bring friends and you know, family. It's just such a wonderful thing. So before I end, I'd just like to acknowledge the presence. Do you guys like my cover, my book cover? If you think I look great, that's because of your own Cebuana, Jade Saducas, who took my picture in Xterra. This was taken in Xterra in the finish line, no? So Jade took that picture, and how could I not come to Cebu to launch my book in Cebu with all these reasons to tying up to my book. So let me end there. Again, thank you very much. I also just want to say that a lot of our books are going to be given to student leaders, to government officials, to women and youth who I want to empower. I strongly believe that we need role models in society, and therefore I want to share. If you look at my book, it's not my story. It's a story of interesting people I met, and that is why after this, I hope to go to other parts of the country to share these stories and to have my book reach other people so that the young ones can learn from our experiences, learn from our mistakes, in fact, and do a better job for a better Philippines. So with that, my dear friends, I want to thank all of you. And I just saw that he just sat down. My father here in Cebu is no other than Ambassador Frank Benedicto. So again, my life in Cebu would not be complete without him and his family. And I'm sure so many of my other friends are out there here. So thank you so much, dear friends. Thank you, my Cebuano family, and I wish you all the best, and I will see you very soon again and again for 2012. God bless you all.